Hey, what's up YouTube? My name is Batman. Today we have round 3 in the Legendary Guide. This is the level Forerunner, I believe. It's the 3rd level in the campaign on Halo 4 on Legendary. And this is where things start to kind of get challenging. The first 2 levels were kind of, they were basically cookies on a platter. They weren't very hard to beat. I almost didn't put guides up for them just because it seemed sort of redundant. Like, you really don't have to try too hard to get past the first 2 levels. But this 3rd level is going to be a real pain in the ass. Now, these dogs we just ran into, these things are only dangerous if they surround you. But they die really easily with a quick little headshot. But if you hit them anywhere besides the head, you're going to have problems. Now, in later levels, they will be able to snipe you, and that'll be dangerous. But in this level, they're just going to shoot you with little suppressor, assault rifle type bullets, and they're not very dangerous unless you get a fat pack of them, and I mean a really fat pack. What you really want to worry about when you get in these fights is, you see we kind of take the dogs out first because they're charging us, and it's just sort of, common sense. But what you want to do when you're fighting these knights is, the first thing you'll see is there will always be like this little floating ball hanging out with them. It'll be flying around them. It'll kind of look like the Sentinel from previous Halos. You want to kill that ASAP. That should be your top priority whenever you get in a fight with these Forerunner Guardian type things. It basically can do 2 things that are really, really frustrating. It provides shields for the bigger guys. It provides shields for the knights, and it can revive fallen enemies, kind of like the Flood. And so you want to kill those floating balls. Those are your first priorities. Take those things out because those are the most dangerous enemy you can fight. It's kind of like the Karl Rove of the enemy. And then obviously, kill the dogs as is necessary. If they're shooting at you, it's probably best to just take them out instead of letting them shoot at you. But those knights, keep in mind, not only do those things, not only are they hella lethal, they will get you. If they melee you, it'll be a one-shot kill. If they melee you, they can 3-shot you from any distance with their little beam rifle type thing, and on top of that, they produce little critters. I think they can like spawn the little dogs, and they can spawn floating balls, which in turn gives them shields and revives their fallen enemies. So keep that in mind. Coming up to this part, immediately make sure you do what I did, and you go up this ramp right here to your right. If you have a partner, have him go up to the one to the left. Pick up these light rifles. The light rifle, I think, is probably the best weapon for this level, just because it's the most deadly. And you'll see right here, we're taking out this ball first before we even start firing on the knight. But yeah, come hit this flank. You're going to have a great vantage point to kind of shoot all those little dogs, and they won't be able to shoot back at you. You'll be able to shoot that little ball, and you're largely protected from that knight. Now, what can happen, and what happened to us a couple times, is that knight can teleport, and he'll teleport behind you, and then he'll stab you in the back. Like, it'll be trippy. Like, you'll be fighting the dogs, you're fighting the little ball, and then you'll be like, where'd that knight go? And it'll just shank you right in your back, and you'll be like, that'll be frustrating. It'll be kind of a rude awakening, a vicious surprise. So if you don't see the knight, check behind you. He might have spawned behind you, but other than that, as long as you hit that flanks, that engagement should be pretty easy. There's the terminal, in case you're interested. And then you'll go through a little tunnel, and in this tunnel you'll find this little ammo cache here off to the side. Make sure you pick up a scattergun. It's going to come in real handy in the future. Now right here, do not stay up on this this sort of patio platform porch where you first come out. Get off there right away. You're up on a raised position. Everything can shoot at you. You're a sitting duck. What we did is we jumped down here to the left, and we used these shields. And you do have a shield. If you hit left bumper, you'll have a shield that you can whip out, and that'll keep you safe for a couple seconds while you kind of make the transition down here. And this wasn't smooth. I wouldn't call this pretty, but right here is proof kind of that these dogs aren't that dangerous. We were surrounded by a couple dozen, and as long as you shoot them faster than they shoot you, you should be able to take them out and survive. But as soon as you get out of that door, make sure you just jump down here to the left, because if you stay up there and try to win that gunfight from a long range, you're gonna lose because they have more firepower than you do, and they have a lot more health than you do. Come around, destroy these little power balls things. I'm not even really sure what's going on in the campaign at this point. The story has kind of eluded me. Maybe I should have read the books. This, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like these dogs and these knights that you're fighting in this level, are they not from Borderlands? Are these not the Skags from Borderlands? And You know, they even have the little spikes like the Skags. And the knight, is that not... You remember at the end of Borderlands 1, you had to fight the Guardians, right? The Vault Guardians. Do they not look identical to these knights right here? You know, I don't know. Just something to keep in mind. I think something this campaign has seemed to do a lot of is incorporating things from other campaigns. Like in a later level, there will be a scene where you're on this huge mammoth. Well, it's called the Mammoth, but it's actually a vehicle. And it's very eerily similar to that scene in Gears of War where you're on that giant hulking, you know, barge type thing. I don't know, Land Rover barge. It seems like they've done a lot of that where they incorporate other games into the campaign. Now, as long as you keep hitting those floating balls first, you should be fine. You see, we take the floating balls out immediately, and then once they lose their floating ball, the knights die pretty easy. You want to take the shield down on their face, and then it's one headshot will take them out. Now, they have this huge sort of, I don't know what you call it, this thing on their back, that huge collar. They have this huge bulbous sort of, I don't even know what the correct word for it be, half of a flying saucer on the back of their back. They are invulnerable there. You can't kill them by shooting that thing. So don't try and shoot them in the back. See these fat, huge shells on the back of their head? That thing, maybe it's their wings. Those things are impenetrable. You're not going to do any damage to them with those, so don't try. But if you hit them in the face, their shields will go down quick, and then it's just one headshot. They die pretty easy. And I do recommend going for the head because body shots are going to take a long, long time. Kind of similar to how it was killing the brutes in previous Halos. Also, these knights are very grenade happy. And with that in mind, you kind of want to keep your distance, but they can throw very far, so I don't know how helpful that's going to be. Now right here, this is going to be a hard fight unless you do it our way right here. Anytime you get the chance to skip a fight in this in Legendary campaign, you take that opportunity. And what we're going to do here, sprint across this far wall to the right, come down here, sprint this way. If your shields go down, like right here, turn around, whip out the shield, the you know, the left bumper shield. That thing is so useful. And back away, they'll forget all about you. You'll come up here, and be careful up here. This part can be tricky. They have a giant sort of Spartan laser thingy-majigger. You know, see right there, that Spartan laser Forerunner guy, and that thing can kill you pretty quick, and it can get pretty hectic. But if you hug the walls and you team shot, you should be fine. You see right here, we kind of made a mistake of trying to fight the knight before taking out the floating ball. And that was counterproductive because, of course, the knight survives. Because, you know, if that floating ball is there, he's going to have not only the shield from the floating ball, but he also has his own personal shield, which recharges exceptionally fast. I think it's the fastest recharge rate of any enemy you've ever had to face in any Halo ever. It's that serious. You see, we're going to get these ghosts, and we're not going to get in any, we're not going to do any fighting. We're just going to... If you look, we're going to take a left right here, hug the left wall. I'm really bad at driving. I'm actually really bad at the game in general. That's just proof that, you know, if you follow, you know, anyone can do this, is what I'm saying. If you want, you know, see, look, I can't even drive that ghost, so if I can do it, you can do it. I promise you that. So just skip all these guys, skip all these guys. You might be able to skip these guys, but it's better just to shoot them, because if you try to skip them and just go right up this chute over here, they might shoot you in the back and take you out. There's an ammo cache right there. Stop there if you need some ammo. And coming up here is probably the hardest part in the level. There's going to be immediately to your left when you come out of that door, there's going to be an elite who tries to get in a Banshee, and if he gets in that Banshee, you're screwed. Just take a left, run him over. You see, that's what Tommy did. And then he gets in that Banshee, and his job is going to be to take out the other enemy Banshee, which is already going to be flying. Now, your job will be to distract the ground forces, because if the ground forces are shooting up at Tommy while he's trying to fly around in his ship, that could be, you know, that's going to kill him before he has the chance to kill the enemy Banshee. And so your job is to distract the ground forces, and if your shields go down, come hide behind this rock over here at the beginning where I was hiding. That'll work out very well for you. Now, you know, kind of clean up the enemy infantry with the ghost, have your Banshee pilot, or if you're by yourself, you want to be piloting that Banshee, and it's going to be kind of tricky, but if you stay high, you should be able to avoid enemy ground forces. And what you want to do, remember in each one of these areas where you can destroy the objective, there's going to be an ammo box in there too that you can check out. I don't know, ammo was a big problem for me in this level. I don't know if it'll be the same for you, maybe it's not, maybe it is, but just in case. And so yeah, you know, have the Banshee pilot take out those ghosts. Don't try and take the ghost with your ghost. Your ghost is actually very fragile. Even if you try to take on, you know, just regular enemies with your ghost, you are going to get beaten up. Like you see here, I had to switch ghosts just because the ghost isn't very, doesn't have very strong armor, I guess you could say. Now, we get a little sloppy here. Tommy probably should have killed this. Oh, there he goes. Good job, Tommy. Come down here, destroy the objective, and you're pretty much done. You don't always have to kill all the enemies here on the ground here. Once you get the objectives destroyed, come up over to this little cliff right here, and you see there's still a lot of enemies on the ground. You don't have to fight them. Get the Banshee. Tommy left me his broken one because he's a nice guy, and just you know, get out of there. Oh, looks like we forgot to destroy objective, but Tommy took care of it. Yeah, see, we're not even, you know, obviously we're not professionals here. Now, this is kind of the final run home. This could get a little tricky, but you know, just pay attention here to where the enemies are so you know what to expect, and you should be able to take them out pretty quick. A lot of the times, this elite right here, see me failing, sort of. I don't know who failed harder, me or the elite, but you'll see when you come up to this point, the elite will oftentimes be facing the other way, and you can sometimes get, you can sometimes just smack them in the back if you're lucky. And then this is the most dangerous part of this area, is there's going to be this fuel rod elite up here. Best way to take them out is to just team shot them from a distance. If you're at a distance, it's going to be harder for him to hit you with that fuel rod cannon because there is a delay. You know, it isn't like a bullet where it just sort of instantly hits you. You do have time to dodge and evade the fuel rod cannon shots. When you kill him, pick up his fuel rod if it suits you, or you can stick with the scatter gun. Either one's going to come in handy. I went with the fuel rod cannon just because I was feeling, you know, explosive. Come in here, grab some ammo if necessary. You have one final fight coming up, I believe. Ignore all the enemies in the middle of this area. Just come right up here to the right. You can sometimes assassinate one of these guys, but if you try to assassinate them, the other ones will just turn on you and kill you. So, you know, you got to fight them the old-fashioned way, but it should be pretty easy as long as you're team shotting. And if you have the fuel rod cannon, and especially if I'd kept the scatter gun, that would have been, you know, that much easier. Skip, and again, you know, a big part of this is just going to be skipping enemies, which you can do very efficiently if you just, you know, use that LB shield and move like you mean it. Now up here, this would be a very challenging fight. However, I'm going to pull this nifty move right here. If you have a partner, he can draw some fire. If you're solo, you can still do this. You just run through them and skip everything. It'll work, I promise. Get up here, hit this, and you'll see, look, that grenade lands there. If I hadn't hit X right there, I would have died. And that, I made it look harder than it actually is right there. It's not actually that difficult. Usually they'll ignore you completely if you pull off the run just perfectly, but for some reason that particular time things got a little hectic. Now this ghost, this final ghost chase away from this I don't even know if it's a planet. I feel like you're just in a floating rock in the middle of a bigger floating rock, and basically what's happening here is there's slip space bubbles erupting all around you, and it's going to mess with the gravity, and so physics isn't going to work the way you want it to. It's going to be really easy to crash. You'll see I lose control a couple times here. The best advice I can give you is to let go of the boost when you're turning. Let go of the boost right there. You see I have some troubles. And make sure you hit every jump at a straight angle. And if you hit it at a straight angle, you should be a-okay. But make sure, to ensure that you're hitting it at a straight angle, make sure you are not boosting when you're turning, and try not to boost when you're in the air, because sometimes it can kind of push you forward, and that'll mess you up on the landing, and sometimes you have to hit 2 jumps consecutively, and it can be sort of problematic. And again, we're not perfect. If it didn't cut to the cutscene, we wouldn't have made it there. Anyways, hope that was helpful. Subscribe for more. This is Batman signing out.